What's goody everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Go ahead, pull up a seat. Let's have a little chat, shall we? I know it's been like 2 weeks or so since I last uploaded, and guys, honestly, I apologize, all right? Life outside of YouTube has been a wild ass ride, but things are good, okay? We're on the up and up, we're good. But while I was sitting in the passenger seat and letting life swerve all over the road, XDefiant released on the 21st of May, which was to my surprise considering that the last playtest I participated in was anything other than launch ready. Here we are though, in the pre-season of XDefiant, and there's a lot that I want to say about it. So if you enjoy what you see today and you want to see more, be sure to smash that sub button, and let's get right on with it. So for starters, I do like how there is crossplay and cross input. In my eyes, it eliminates the ranting you see in COD where the only thing people will use are controllers against M&K because of the aim assist aspect. And not saying that everyone does it, but there's a few of you that do. I mean, if you get into a controller only lobby, you know the playing field's gonna be leveled out enough. You can disable these options, but it's best just to leave it alone. All right, that's what I think at least. Speaking of lobbies, there's also no skill-based matchmaking. For a lot of us, that's a great thing because it stops that repetitive ass formula of getting into lobbies that are destined to set you up for failure. In this, it's all about skill. Well, for the most part, but more on that in a bit. To be fair, the lobbies I get into are pretty consistent. I get a mix of people that either know life this game in the playtest up until now, people that have maybe dabbled in other FPS games and are giving this one a chance. They're not terrible, they're just not used to the style of game. And then you've got those that are playing this game with their monitors completely turned off. I'm not getting into total 1 IQ lobbies, and I'm not getting into sweaty comp tryhard lobbies. It's perfectly balanced, as all things should be. But you know what isn't though? The rest of the game. Oh yeah, we're getting right into it because with all the delays, all the playtest, even the damn temporary cancellation of this game, you would think they would have perfected something here, but they didn't. It's like 90% chalked. Let's touch back on the lobbies real quick because even though the player skill level may be consistent, the hit reg and desync make everything inconsistent as hell. Seriously. I can't tell you how many times my bullets have either hit an enemy when they move behind a wall and vice versa, or I've shot these people in the open and the bullets do not connect. Great, so every time I get into a gunfight, there's some RNG to determine if my bullets are gonna put an enemy on their ass or not? Cool, thanks Ubisoft, appreciate it. But if it isn't the lobbies, right? It's the fact that this game feels dated. And I'm talking like, this game should have came out circa 2013 or 2014. And you know, I wouldn't mind it as much if the movement wasn't bad. I actually felt the jank the most on M&K, so I actually had to use a controller just to be able to continue playing this long enough to get some footage. If you think I'm bullshitting, play this on M&K and then swap to a controller. The game somehow unfucks itself when you do that. I don't get it. And while we're in the vicinity of gameplay, let me tell you about the balancing aspect of this game. There isn't any. Seriously, the ACR will completely melt whatever it touches. The AK-47 can have your ass tap dancing to the afterlife in no time. The snipers are such a pain to fight from a medium to long range because they're essentially one-hit kills. And you know what, while we're at it, let's add a double barrel shotgun that's also a one-hit kill. Again, this goes back to how much work it took to get to this point, okay? I would have expected these things to get better from the playtest to release, not the same or somewhat worse. And I'm not saying that every gun in the game should be OP or every gun in the game can't do shit, but when it comes to balancing weapons, it needs to make sense. You can have a gun be underpowered compared to another weapon as long as it fucking makes sense. Enough of that, right? Let's talk about progression because I was curious about how that was going to work, and it works in 2 different ways. At least I think it does. First way is just to play, right? Gain XP, level up your player rank, weapons, battle pass, boom, you're done. Ranking up your player level in guns is actually somewhat pain-free, and I like that. I really do. It makes earning attachments and unlocking other things not that tedious. I can't say the same about the battle pass because the progression on that is a slow-ass burn. If you've played the finals, it reminds me a lot of that to where unless you're doing challenges, guess what? Have fun putting more hours than you bargained for into completing 1 page. Second way of progressing is to complete challenges to unlock certain ops and weapons. And this, I don't know if it's just a me thing or if the feeling is mutual, but I'm fine doing challenges to unlock operators. The weapons, however, I think those should have stayed linked to player rank. It's not like the challenges are hard or whatever, they can be easily done, but it's just not my cup of tea. And speaking of the weapons, I was wondering if Ubisoft would sink time into creating some unique skins for them, and well, we got skins at least. Currently in the preseason, there's nothing to show for with progression unless you like bronze, silver, and gold. And if you're an AK user, you get a dust cover. So there's that. Yeah, it's pretty lackluster. You know, I get that they may be saving the better skins for season 1, but if the only way I can get skins right now is either Twitch drops, buying them on the store, or getting my weapon level to rank 50, I don't know if it's gonna keep me engaged as long. You know, I'm just gonna be honest. Now, let's talk about the content of the preseason, because while I can hound Ubisoft on all the other aspects of this game, they did come out with a pretty good sized map pool. In fact, we have a whopping 14 maps on release with 5 different game modes. I will say that a small handful of these maps are really good, some are okay, and the rest are just absolute hog shit. The game modes aren't too crazy, as there's zone control, escort, domination, a weird kill confirm mode, and occupy, which is like hardpoint. There is a ranked mode, but I'm not touching that until the hit reg is fixed at least. Ain't no way I'm dealing with all that shit. I'm just not dealing with it. And one tiny thing I want to sneak in here on the content side of things, there is a battle pass. It offers 50 tiers and is packed full of cosmetics, so if that's your thing, raise hell, praise dope, brother. But I think that's about all I want to talk about for now, because this is only the preseason, right? Ubisoft is just trying to establish a foundation for the game now and then build on it later. But if I'm being honest, I don't know if it's gonna stick. For my final thoughts, could everything I mentioned in this video be improved on, in my opinion, change come season 1? Yeah, I always want games to be better despite my initial critiques on them. It's good for gamers, it's good for the industry, everyone wins. The thing that is ruining this game for me is the fact that in its current state, this doesn't feel like a release build at all. It just leaves this bitter taste of it had to be rushed out the door. You know, I can give it credit where credit is due in the aspect of its crossplay, its cross input, and its free to play. And not to mention that the content pipeline that Ubisoft has planned out for XDefiant is one of the best we've seen so far. That itself is a great thing and a highlight of XDefiant. But outside of that, there's really nothing else going for it right now. You know, it's just sort of unsatisfying to play. Sure, you can play with your friends, but even then it's like, do you want to? You know, like, yeah, it's free, but like, do you really want to? But in all seriousness though, if you are having fun playing this game either by yourself or with a friend, hey, by all means, enjoy it. I can see this being a really good alternative for those that either don't want to play Call of Duty, they don't want to spend the money on Call of Duty, or they're just looking for some form of alternative first-person shooter until a better one comes along. I see this resonating handsomely with the console crowd and not so much for the PC crowd. XDefiant fits better there because it just feels like a console shooter. I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I plugged in the controller and I started using it, a lot of the jank and awkwardness with the movement sort of dissipated, and it dissipated enough for me to be like, okay, this had to be made with consoles in the forefront. And until they fix the jankiness that comes with the M and K input, that's the only way I can think. I don't know, I guess I'm just sort of ashamed with Ubisoft when it comes to XDefiant's release so far. It could have been better than what it is now, but alas, here we are. Now I turn the mic to you. Let me know down below what you think about XDefiant. And while you're down there, be sure to smash that like button and beta test that sub button also YouTube can show you my content free of charge. And as always, I want to give a huge shout out to the current members of the channel. Y'all are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. This is Sir Blackout signing off to go get good on controller, I guess. I mean, I haven't used this godforsaken thing seriously in like 5 years. Later.